Welcome to this week's episode of Art Wisdom with Chris and Kat. And this week, we're talking about how to get your art seen by millions of people on TikTok, and Instagram Reels. A lot's changed, hasn't it, Kat? Like, you've been using TikTok quite a lot lately.
Yeah,
finding things are quite different to, I suppose these things are always evolving, aren't they? So we will always be maybe updating what's happening here.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because the original way that people would use Instagram has totally changed. A lot of the things that people were doing are no longer working. Just posting images is just not effective. And I think it's left a lot of like artists sitting there and just anyone running anything on Instagram thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able, is it me? Am I making bad stuff? And obviously it's just the priorities of the program have changed. Yeah. But also that very same content then used on TikTok can bring in, like, as I said, you can put yourself in front of way more people now if you know what you're doing as far as making those videos. So I guess I'll just break down like what is TikTok, what's a reel. It's usually like a short video. Someone described it quite nicely as like it's like a preview to a movie, because the interesting thing about TikTok is it's not actually a social media platform in terms of like Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. It's more like a replacement for television, but where all of the programs are like 15 seconds or less, 4 seconds.
Yeah, you can get hooked in it, don't you? Like you got me onto it and then I'm flicking through, and I suppose when they've got caught your interest with it, it is like TV. You're watching a little snippet of something, but I never feel like anything's being sold at all.
No, not always. I mean, it depends how it's done. Like I've seen product reviews on there and I've been like, oh, that's so cool, I've got to have it. I have had lots of those moments, but it depends on what content is served to you. Now, like the interesting thing is like when you're targeting someone for like Facebook, and, you're trying to write the best description and all of that jazz, add your hashtags and all of that because you want to target specific people. TikTok doesn't do that, doesn't need to do that. What it does is it analyzes all the words that are written in it. It analyzes all the audio. So any word that is spoken is also transcribed. So it kind of knows what you're talking about. It also uses image detection. So it knows this is a video of a baby. It can detect it's a picture of a baby. It can detect it's a picture of a dog, for instance. It can detect it's a picture of a flower or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And it will then go and show that to people who like that kind of content, which is really fascinating because you can literally write zero, zippity nothing in the description. You can write nothing in the caption and you can still get served to the right people. And it's sometimes a bit like, how do they do that?
It's always the how do they do that? So that's
a mystery.
Really different to Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, also, I think there is some similarities, like with a classical Instagram post, you mean? But it's like there are like viral trending things on Instagram, but a lot of it is like, some of it will be like people who also like this content, who've liked this post, it will like show to their friends as an example. Whereas TikTok was, as I said, it works a little different. It will like subsect people into like, oh, this is a group of people that like to look at stuff around babies, maybe they're like mothers or people that are like interested in that kind of stuff, or they just find it cute or whatever. So they'll subsect by people, but also by what is actually inside the video, and it figures out what you like, what your users like, and like you don't have to say it, like whereas Instagram you have to go and like follow people. Like you do follow people on TikTok, but it almost doesn't matter because almost no one watches there. You've got two feeds. You've got the people you follow and you've got the feed from the world, let's say there. But it's more specifically targeted to your one country, right? So show you, instead of now being the best of the 100 people that you follow, it's showing you the best content of the entire country or entire, English speaking population, there is some bleed over. Like occasionally you'll have videos that make it through to another country, but it tries to keep it localized language wise. That is one thing I've noticed with TikTok. So when I go to a new country, it shows me like TikToks from that country, and vice versa. When I'm in a different, like in Australia, it'll show me Australian TikToks.
Right.
So what else would I say about that? But that's like the back end of it.
Yes.
Now, like how
it's great to understand that, though, isn't it? To
yeah,
you know, because even, you know, you don't have to worry too much about your text and the hashtags. That's sort of a nice thing, isn't it? Especially being an artist as well, because sometimes it's just the picture that is the thing, and it's searching around what to say about it. Sometimes can take your ages doing your post, where if you don't have to do that.
But also in the strange sort of way, and Instagram is like this now. People will find that they'll post content and their followers don't get to see it. And that's because it's only showing viral trending stuff now. So they were now competing against, see, there's a as I said, there's a difference. If you're shown only the best content out of, let's say, 100 or 1,000 people you're following, you're going to have some great hits in there. But if you're getting the best content of 1 million, 10 million people, the quality of the stuff that's coming through is going to be so much more engaging. It's going to be so much more funnier, whatever it is that you're specific, like someone's into. Yes. So, you know, they found that they couldn't keep up with TikTok. TikTok was dominating because instead of just having a great post every now and then, it was every single one was an absolute banger. But if you use TikTok, you'll notice that every now and then you'll get shown one that's like very small. And it's like
being very small,
as in like it's only been shown to a few people. It's only had a few likes. It's brand new. It's not a big hit. And they're almost like testers. Oh. And I always like to think about how things are shown. And I think that Instagram Reels is a little bit like this too, but I definitely know for sure that TikTok works like this. So what it will do is you'll put your content out there and it will start by showing it to maybe 10 to 100 people. And that's like this first tier of people. And if that responds well to those people, it will show you to the next group, which will be, let's say, 1,000 people. And then if that does well, it'll show it to the next group, which might be 10,000. And they get sizably bigger. And then if it gets really good, it will like punch all the way through and is now on a path where it's been shown to millions of people. But it's like, depending on how people interact. So it's basically saying, are people interacting? Are they liking? Are they sharing? Are they commenting? Obviously, likes are important, but there's nothing more powerful than someone that clicks share or someone that saves it or someone that writes comments and all of that kind of stuff. It really does tell the program, hey, this is engaging content, this person. And also like how many times a person's watched it, the average watch time is very important. And that's almost why a lot of people tend to go for these very short videos, like 4 seconds of something being varnished, instead of having like, you know, the whole laborious process of you going through everything. It's just literally.
What's the maximum? What's the time limit?
You can go up to 2 minutes.
Oh, okay, because it used to be 15 seconds.
I think it used to be 30.
All right,
most
so
people would make 15. Now the thing is, like with longer form videos on TikTok, it has to be like story driven. So like people where they're like, you're telling the story and you get a bit invested, because to hold someone's attention on that platform for 2 minutes is a big ask. Yeah. But you know, for TikTok, they're looking at completion rate. So they're like, did someone actually complete it or did they skip past it? They're looking at that. So you know, obviously story-based things do work if you've got longer videos, better if you've got something like an interesting, like, oh my God, you'll never believe what just happened here, story to tell, or something that is deeply fascinating. But in general, at least for art and for what I've found, what I've seen for other people, you know, you kind of want to be a little bit shorter, a little bit sharper, and you know, you like, and also recognizing that people don't have any context when they come to these videos. They've just watched a video of a puppy. They've just watched a video of someone cleaning a carpet. They've just watched a video of someone dancing. And then all of a sudden your content comes up. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you're talking about. They don't know what your story is or anything. So you have to make it very clear very quickly so that people, because as soon as people are confused, and not confused in a curious way, but confused as in like, what the heck is this? They will just skip past, because they can guarantee that the next 15 seconds is going to be great. So it's a very cutthroat thing in the sense that how well your videos do, there's a little bit of luck involved. Like people have uploaded a video and it didn't do very well, and they've re-uploaded it and it's done incredibly well. But generally speaking, the videos that do well are ones that are like actually good, and it's relatively consistent, I would say.
So if you say like 4 seconds for an artist, like would it be so they actually can see your beautiful work, so they can see what you do? Or, you know, is mixing paint, you know?
Yeah, like mixing paint, like a few strokes of varnish, you know, when you put the varnish on and all of a sudden it reveals the detail, you know, it could be something very, like, I've realized that it has to be something that's quite visually appealing, right? If you've got a shaky camera, if it's like low quality, and I don't mean like the art has to be like the best thing ever, right? But I just mean that it's like, you know, if it looks like it's been filmed on an old Nokia flip phone versus, you know, a camera that's sharpish, you know.
So you're talking more quality of the filming than actually the artwork, because the artwork,
yeah, for sure,
people like what all different stuff, don't they?
Because I think, yeah, if you have you know, whatever art you have, if it's filmed really poorly, if the colors are very washed out, because it's not, you know, you're trying to film a blue piece under a yellow light, as an example, or you're using really low light, so it's very grainy, or you've not wiped the lens of your phone and therefore it's a bit smeary, or you're shaking, you know, when that comes up, you just, it's like, ugh, you know, scroll past it.
Yeah, because that sort of reflects on yourself as well, isn't it? Because if you're willing to put, you'd never put an artwork out there that you weren't happy with. So I suppose it's a video as well. Don't put a video out there that you sort of go, oh, you're not happy with that either. The
question always is then, what do you include in that 15 seconds? Like how do you decide? You know, because it is very much based on, like, if you don't do something that suits either TikTok or Instagram, if you're not quite sticking to the formula as such, it doesn't really work very well. So there's two things.
So have you found a formula, have you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I have videos now that have been seen like millions and millions and millions of times.
Yeah.
I think like 8 or 9 million times a video.
Wow.
Not all of them. My following is quite meager. It's only 100,000, which I know sounds like a lot, but it's not like building an Instagram following. You can have a few viral hits and pick up millions of people in one video. So that's worth noting.
Yeah.
But followers don't really mean as much, if that makes sense. What they do is you can use in TikTok or like Instagram Reels to funnel people through to the things that do matter. For me, email lists, Instagram, sometimes, you know, like I'll find that people will follow me on different platforms. Maybe they'll follow me on YouTube even.
Yeah.
So
this is like the top of your funnel. You're just gathering.
Like yeah, so you could think of it a little bit like this is the trailer to your business. In a world where Christmas makes good art. I don't have a movie voice anyway. So how do you do it? So the first thing is to use the platform. And I think that it can be a bit overwhelming at first, because you think, oh God, you know, is this really for me? For a lot of people that haven't used it before. But we just use, Gary Vee has this thing where he talks about the 10-10 method, which is you use a platform for 10 hours and then you make 10 pieces of content and you'll understand any platform. And that is true, but missing one really vital part of that. So you got to use it really consciously. So,
and when you're saying using it, you're saying like scroll through and look at videos. That's all. Just you say use it.
Look around on it, you know, have a bit of fun, click on different buttons, see what they do, you know, try and find the stuff. It doesn't have to be art. Find the stuff that you like and use it. But when you're doing it, do it consciously. And what I mean is have a notepad, as weird as that is. And then as you're going through, asking yourself, like, why did I scroll past this? At what point did I get bored? Why did I stick with this video? What is it about this one, you know, that doesn't really gel with me? What does gel with me? Why did I choose to stick on this one and not the one before? You know, and just literally barraging yourself with those, like, why is this? Why is this? Why do I feel like this? What is this making me feel like? And what happens is, after you use it for 10 hours like that, taking notes, saying, oh, you know, I realized that I was quite interested in videos that looked a little bit more like they were well lit. So, you know, you'll start noticing that down. You start to see these patterns appearing, you know, specific camera angles, you know, become very good, you know, very prominent. You get to notice all of these things, just taking note. And that is the basis of understanding how to make the videos. But then
like and size of texts, and if there's any at all, and voiceovers maybe, because some you know have TikTok's own voiceover thing, which might grate on you. It might be I think it's really good to tell people what to look for, because I think sometimes you look at these things and you look at it and you think, well, I don't even know what I'm looking for really.
No, don't. Yeah, that is very true. So, you know, look at and also, you know, look at what audios are being used. If you find good ones, save them, because they'll be useful when you go to make them. So save and take notes of effects that they're using. If you're using effects, almost never use them for mine, because I'm doing art stuff, so you know, I don't want to necessarily perturb it in any way. But you know, and then look at what trending songs are really important. You know, because ultimately it's like a TV show, but it's also kind of like a radio station where people are like, they just get into the music. And you know, look at the way that they're timing things to the music. You know, you think about classic video editing, because now you're getting into the depths of, you're no longer a social media manager, you're a movie maker, you're a producer, right? You're making visual, animated, or motion content. Really, you're a film director.
And you can look that up, can't you? You can look up trending music. So it's really easy to find out what is trending.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? I always think, like, even better than looking it up is just use a platform and just see what is popping up. And just see, you know, oh, is this track? Because by the time someone else has written about it, it's almost always out of date at that point. It's like,
but isn't it? Can't you on
in the app?
In the app, you can look at trending music or something.
Sometimes I'm not sure. If it really is trending.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. It really depends. I honestly feel like, I mean, you can look at that. I genuinely just believe, like, look at the videos. And when you found something that you found something you're like, I want to give that a go. You know, maybe there's a thing that you want to copy, and that's okay. When you start and just try things. Don't just look at that one video though. You can click on the sound, obviously save it, but then look at all the other different videos that were made with that sound. Don't just look at the ones that were doing good, look at the ones that were doing bad, and consciously, why is this bad? Why is this one got more than this one? And after a bit, you start to find this common thread of like a quality that you need to hit. And I also like to play this little game, you know, on this side, you've got the thing, and on the side, you've got all of the different icons, the like and whatever. I'll cover that over with my thumb and I'll guess what the number is. So I'll guess, I can guess how many likes this is. And I'm pretty good at it now, where I've got to a point where I can tell, this is only a video that will be appreciated by, 5,000 people will like it. This one is going to be 5 million. And you can start to pick that up. So that's firstly, that's like the nuance of how to film, but then what is the content? And I always say, treat it like a newspaper, in the sense of a newspaper has articles. Those articles have headlines that make it clear, and it's usually something that captures your attention or creates a curiosity, or something that you either agree or disagree with, or something that is amazing, but you're captured by that
headline.
Right. So, but ultimately tell you what you're looking at, so that if you're someone that's not interested in it, it's not going to show it to you, so when I say headlines, and I mean, you don't have to literally write a headline, but you can, and it is also very effective in, you know, the platform, in Instagram or in TikTok. But, you know, if you say, like, I've done videos where I've just painted a piece, you know, and it was nice, and it was like, I do glow in the dark space art, right? And, you know, I did a piece, it was very nice, and, you know, I think maybe 10,000 people saw it. It was quite good. But then I changed the headline, rather than just, oh, look, here's a picture I painted, which isn't exactly the most compelling headline, to I invented a glow in the dark paint. Or like thinking about this time when I invented a glow in the dark paint, and everyone's like, what? Yeah. And then it shows this, I use the same footage, I re-edited it differently, and exactly the same footage, just added that one little bit at the beginning, that headline, and it went from being seen for 10,000 times to, like, I think nearly 5 million. What a difference, just by adding that, like, this is what it's about. This is like the shtick. Because if you think about it, you're making a little tiny TV show, and it's like, TV shows aren't just like a random collection of what, you know, you've got to think about, like, what is it showing you that is like a compelling thing? Now, sometimes it could just be very visual, you know, and it doesn't need to be, you know, sometimes I've just seen ones where it's just very satisfying. It's the application of palette knife. You should see the palette knife videos. Sometimes it can be very visual. It could be like the smooshing down of paint with a palette knife, or just a moment where you're like, ooh, you know, as I said, varnishing videos. It's a tremendously simple thing to do, superly, like, very, like, visually effective. Communicated just in a split second, like a reveal, like, and I like, so you've got the headline, right? You know, and sometimes you can state it verbally, sometimes it's written, sometimes it's just visually there and it makes sense. But I would say that quite often with art, you might want to actually explain what you're doing or why you're doing it, you know, like the fact, and find like the thing that is a curiosity. Like, for you, like for me, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I just invented some glow in the dark oil paint. And people are always like, I wonder what that is. For you, it's like, I create everything with a palette knife. I make all this art, and I never use a single brush, right? And that's something that most people would be like, really? You know, so if you find,
you know what, like, I think we all make things very complicated, so you're really simplifying it here, because 15 seconds is not long at all.
Oh yeah. And
the things that we take for granted, like, you know, I don't use a brush, it's just a palette knife, you know. It's Iris Scott does the finger painting, you know, and just to hear somebody say that, but it's like, just not maybe taking for granted of what we do. Just
right. Well, it's very true. It's very easy to do, you know. It's great sympathy for anyone, because like sometimes it needs to be like, sometimes the simplest things are glaring obvious, but for you it's fascinating, you know. I make all of this just with a palette knife, you know, and that's quite a fascinating concept, you know. And that, but even besides that, you know, people, like, you know, for instance, I would say, like, I make paintings using alcohol. If I was doing alcohol links, and like I would go off that. I'd be like, I use alcohol to paint with, but I don't get drunk. And then it was enough to be like a thing where people go, oh, okay, what is this? Now, so that's your headline. Your headline is the thing that's capturing attention, creating curiosity, like, you know. And I think there was like a meta earlier on where people were like, wait till the end, and that worked at the very, very beginning. But like, it's kind of a, like, I painted a picture, it's going to take your breath away. Is it, you know, it's a little bit of a, it probably still does work for some people, but I feel like some trends become used and done, if that makes sense. They become overused, and then people are like, oh, not another one of these bloody videos.
And our patience as well as a little bit.
Right. What happens is that someone uses it and they've not got a very spectacular thing at the end, and then they go, oh,
Oh yeah.
After a bit, they're like, my trust has been rocked.
Yes,
Not by
right.
you, could have been by a million other people
Yeah.
before you. That's why trends stop working after a period of time, because they don't really live up, or they've seen something very similar, right? So you've got your headline, it captures attention. Now you can use a different type of signal interrupter. There are people that create something that just stops you from scrolling. One of my favorite people, Emily Candrelli, she has wooden floors and socks, and she runs in and she like slides into the camera, you know, and it's kind of jarring. There's a guy that gets a balloon and pops it at the beginning, and it's like, oh, okay, what's going on? It takes you a moment, because you do start to unconsciously stroll, you know, you just get into it, you know, without realizing. So the thing to interrupt them, but a great interrupter is text, being able to read something. People are quite curious about what something says. Now, bear in mind, if it's like an essay, people are going to be like, ugh. But if it's enough to hold them for a few seconds and create a little curiosity, that's also a great signal interrupter. So I call them signal interrupters, but basically it's just stopping the flow of constant scroll, basically.
Something a little bit different, I suppose, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
So, you know, or it could be something that is like, you know, but bear in mind, if you have text, it's got to be the image behind it can't be going crazy. It can't be like so wild, because not only do people scroll if they are underwhelmed by something, they also scroll if they're overwhelmed by something, to the point where they're like, oh God, it's too much. Oof. You know what I mean? And I've had that. But as you get to use the platform, you start to notice those moments where you're like, oh God, whoa, not for that, thank you, right? So we're a little bit overwhelmed. So sometimes slowing it down for that first, you know, and if you're having text, it takes 3 to 4 seconds. And if you have text up there for less than that, it's going to have to be like a word. That's it. So if you're going to have a paragraph, you really, or not paragraph, but even if it's just 8 words, you're gonna have to give them 8 seconds, you know, 4 seconds. 3 to 4 seconds is a great amount of time to read, like 3.5. It depends on how much text is there, of course.
You could do a little demo of yourself, couldn't you? You could read it yourself, as you know, not racing through it, but just read it as if you would, and then time yourself, and that's gonna,
I mean, and use your significant other and or any other person that's around you to see, like,
capture.
Does it read well? You know, does it easy? Sometimes you can say what you need to say in less words, and absolutely like, you know, write whatever you need to say and then try and cut it down as much as you can, until the point where it's like efficient, because efficiency is a real good key. You want curiosity and efficiency. You don't want to overwhelm them, but you want to lure them in. So you've got your headline, right? You've got your signal and drop, you hook them. And then the next thing that comes in newspaper, of course, is the subtitle or the sub headline, which is like the bit that's like brings them a bit deeper, you know, something that's a bit more mysterious. You know, the Queen's crown jewels are stolen and there was left behind a banana peel. I don't know where that come from, but you know what I mean? Something that you go, oh really? Woo, what is that, right? It's the thing that adds it to it. Now, now with painting, you kind of do that a little visually. So you could say, I create these incredible, I create an entire art piece with just a palette knife. I don't use a brush. Look at this. You know, so those first few bits where it teases it out, you could have like you know, something like ultra smooth, just the close up. And again, well lit, not shaky, and not like messy, overwhelming. You know, so obviously it can be a challenge for us artists, because sometimes things get a bit messy. You know?
Well, you know, this is what I've, you know, when you start looking at the back end of people's Instagrams and when they're Instagrams, TikToks and all that, when they're open to sharing, you know, they will share, this is me doing my Instagram posts and my painting, and they're all lovely and all that. This is me actually doing it, and I'm sitting in my jammies with my hair's tied up in a big knot.
Right, they've got no makeup on, they're just going for it.
Yeah, you know, so
it is true.
It's not real. Like, things aren't real sometimes, so it's like,
no, I think also
the polished version of ourselves.
Yeah, that is actually very true. I think also it's because people are whipping through this content very quickly. So at the first sign of lots of clutter and that kind of stuff, it becomes overwhelming and you sort of want to scroll past, even though it doesn't necessarily show the true depths of the truth about everything that's going on. Hopefully, if they go follow you on another platform or get involved in your content in a deeper way, they get to see the behind the scenes anyway.
Know you. Yeah.
Right, so that comes eventually, but when you're trying to snag someone with your trailer, you know, trailer for a movie doesn't have all the bits, it has all the best bits in it to, you know, keep people like, oh, what is this is kind of cool. So you're showing sections of your painting being developed. You could be like the squishing of a paint, you could be a close-up of something being applied, and there is a lot to be said for like painting related to ASMR, right? Which is like that sort of like relaxing, sort of like very tactile, like the recording of the audio and so on. You know, using that as a way of, you know, encouraging people to watch the rest of it. But you don't need like, because here's the author challenge, is that art, especially like at the beginning, as we all have, has an ugly stage. And whilst you want to show people the development stages, like sometimes, you know, you might want to be showing some of the paint smushes and some of the things that are like maybe early on, like the first paint stroke, but then you might want to fast forward a little bit towards where the bit where it starts to get looking good, before you do the reveal. The reveal is really important. That's like the final summation of the newspaper. That's the pow, and here it is, right? It's the bit of the book that ties it all together, and you go, oh my God, no, fall back, right? So you want to have that reveal, because that's the point at which they click like. So if you don't have a reveal and it sort of plods around, it's like you have to give people the moment where they click like, whatever that is. And a reveal is great for that, because, you know, and you can do it, get, you know, especially with I've got obviously an iPhone, but it's got a slow motion version, like video capture, and unless you're under flickery lights, and natural lights, fantastic. You know, you can like move quite quickly with your phone and it will create these nice smooth videos. That's great as a reveal. Or you can hold canvas and turn it around, or it could be the final stage is the varnish, and it's laying down, and it's, you know, how it looks a bit musty white, and then you put the varnish over it, and then all of a sudden it's revealed, right?
So,
and you give them
what if, because like, you know, you're not every video you're going to have a reveal, because you're not doing a painting, you know, as often as you're doing your videos. So it can work without the reveal as well, like you're just doing different.
What I would do if I wasn't doing like a whole painting process is that I wouldn't even like, what I would do is I would literally just look at one specific tactile thing. So for instance, I would literally just do the varnish, the varnish, or I would do the squishing of the paint under the palette knife.
And you've got some beautiful ones of yours where you've got the I forgot what the brush is called, where it's sprayed out.
The fan brush.
The fan brush.
Yeah.
Just the twiddling of that.
Right.
Yeah, it's so simple, isn't it? But it just looks so beautiful to watch.
Sometimes just a stroke masterfully applied. Masterfully. Sorry, I don't know. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a difference between a confident stroke, even if it's a bit of a blasé stroke.
Yeah.
Right. Versus people want to see those like smooth flow. Like the artwork in its end result for some of these doesn't have to be like an inspiring, spectacular thing. It could just be that one or two brush strokes. You know, you don't like, because this is a thing, you're not showing the whole painting process. You're there for 60 hours, maybe, let's say, making a piece. You've only got 15 seconds. And let's be honest, that's still quite a lot. Realistically, you should be making videos mainly around 8 seconds, maybe even 4 seconds. Like some of my best ones are 4 seconds. And that one you're talking about, that one where I'm just lazily painting a stroke, and it's literally, I've just set up a camera with a tripod to film what I'm doing, and I just had the clip of one stroke and then the clip of it being finished. And it was literally like 4 seconds, and it made a ting noise, and then it changed to the final piece, and it was like ding.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
But that one video got me in front of tens of millions of people, right? Because it didn't just go viral on TikTok, it went viral on Instagram as well. I've got 2 platforms for one video. And that was
like a little exercise for people, isn't it? Sort of to think, like, what's 10 ways that you could probably go, this would be really, really simple for me to do and look beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm putting that challenge out there to everybody. Make a list of at least 10. I'm going easy, really. Like most of the time we'll do 50 with challenges that we do, that I do on people, but say 10 of something little that you can actually take action on very, very easily.
Like, for instance, one of your videos could literally be a jar, if whoever is like a watercolor or an acrylic artist, a jar of plain water, and you put your brush in and you get the of the ink coming off right for the first one, and then the swirl of you putting the brush in. It could literally just be that. It's like the process is kind of beautiful when you break it down. It's sort of like you look at a garden, you go like, and it might be a bit of a whatever, and you go, but then you look really close, and then you see a little tiny flower in there. You look really close, you see a little beetle. There's like moments of beauty in even the mess of creation, whatever that is. Now,
do you think it's worthwhile, like, taking a day, or just do it while you're painting, or taking a day to go, I'm going to just play around and take little videos of me just applying paint?
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, what's the real best way of doing it? Because I don't feel like I've got a great, like, I can make a great video that goes very viral. It's just that I don't necessarily have like a set process. Often what I'll just do is I'll just film what I'm doing, and then I'll turn that into a video. Like, I'll just literally take my, I do everything on my phone. I'll hand my phone up, I'll film it, because it's got a 4K camera. As long as you've got great lighting, it's phenomenal. I use Video Leap to edit it on it. Video Leap has templates now. It makes it a lot easier. But it's like, be aware, like when you use TikTok, you'll notice that they have a lot of templates that are like all these special effects. But if you watch good TikToks, they never have them in.
No,
so
especially for art.
You
don't want to be doing that.
So, but it does have some useful templates in there, and regardless, it is actually very, very useful to not have to take it, because like one of the problems, you're making content, you're filming on something, you got to take the SIM card out, or the memory card, sorry, and then you got to put it in your computer, you got to download it, you got to encode it sometimes, or you've got to change the format so that it can work occasionally, then you've got to edit it, then you've got to like try different things out, then you've got to save it out and export it, then you've got to get it back onto a system where you can upload it if you're not doing it on your computer. And it's a pain to be able to just click record, and then what I like about editing on my phone, if truth be told, is that you can sit on the sofa as long as you've got headphones on, because you have to listen to the whatever on a loop, and it can be somewhat annoying for everyone else around you. But you can be sitting, and your partner could be watching or your family could be watching the TV, or you could just be sitting in the company of other people, or you just be hanging out in your bed, and you could literally do the work there, rather than having to do this whole rigmarole, of having to like get the computer turned on and all that, like all that stuff. You could just do it from your phone. So that's what I would say. So what do you have? Is there anything that I've said that or anything you think I've not covered as far as like how to make these videos?
I think it's finding what works for yourself, really, isn't it? Like I'm saying, well, take a day to do it, because sometimes I feel like I'm getting interrupted and stopping, and I know it's on like the phone, it's easy. And
but I do agree.
I think that's like that idea with the water and stuff like that. If because if you're painting, you think, I don't want, then this is just me.
I don't
want to do that. I don't want to be doing that. I want to be in my zone, and I just want to be focusing. So put the phone on and just record anyway, that's fine. But for me to take a day out and go, okay, well, I'm just going to mix paint and I'm just going to, have ideas in my head, be creative towards the video process and not the art making process. Maybe I just can't do two things at once.
No, I think that's very fair. I think that the people that I've noticed, so here's the thing, that when you find something that works, just like literally spam it over and over and over again. It might feel a bit weird. You're like, oh, I'm doing the same video, like a couple of different, I'm just keep on doing the same video. That's A-okay. Obviously, same video, different content, like a different artwork, let's say. That's A-okay. When you find something, just do it. So one of the things you could do is set a day, and I am right now giving myself my own advice. I give myself the excuse that I travel so much that I don't have a stationary setup, although I will do soon. But finding the right lighting and camera angle to capture what you're doing well works so well. It is so, so helpful if you can do that. It makes all the difference. So, I think that's a really important thing that sort of can't be, overstated, is like, get the setup working, because realistically, you don't want to be having to like move the angle all the time. It's a lot. It's a lot. Almost all of my very successful ones have been very simple though. I've just picked an angle and the lighting setup that shows the artwork well, that doesn't have glare, that is close enough to show it. Now, bear in mind, if you work on big pieces, it can be a challenge if it's big pieces with lots of detail, but that's okay. Here's the thing, it's only 15 seconds. So if all you want to do is literally record, you're just going to go, right, I'm just going to do one very like confident stroke.
Yeah.
And that's literally it. That's the one bit. And then, the reveal could be you just turning the cameras around, or you could just be, if you have someone that will be helping you, maybe they can turn the camera to show you standing next to your artwork, whatever it might be, right? But if you think about it, you're only ever going to show maybe 2-3 brush strokes at most. So you need to film the whole thing.
Yeah, that's so true. So you could actually just, go, okay, these are my brush strokes, even if they're sort of a bit random on your canvas and you want to take them off afterwards.
Right.
Like with a palette knife, I could be doing thing and then think, oh, I'll scrape that off and get into my zone again. So no excuses, hey, Kat.
Well, you got to think about it. Just all you need to really do is record one, which is the setup, which might just be you thinking about something. It might literally be a shot of your face, like thinking about something.
Paint.
Or it might be a shot of you laying out paint brushes, and but it's a very still station, and that's the one where you've got text. So maybe you filmed it so like your head is very low in the shot, so there's lots of space above you, so you can add the text as an example, right? So you got that one shot, you've got maybe 2 or 3 shots at most of just 3 different strokes. That's literally it. And then you've got your reveal, and that's literally a video that could be seen by millions of people.
Well, that's a great example for somebody just to start to go, if you weren't sure, just follow those steps.
Follow those steps.
Yeah.
So what are your top 3 takeaways, Chris?
Well, my top 3 would be your hook, and I love the curiosity and efficiency. So that tells you a lot what your hook is, isn't it? Just in those 2 words. Love it. I double down on what works. If you find something that's working for you, just do more of it. I'm very guilty of trying to invent the wheel all the time with what I'm doing and overcomplicating. Just do what works. That's okay. And if you're struggling doing it, getting off, taking action, because if you don't take action, all of this is like not, doesn't. Worthless. Yep. So get an accountability buddy. If you find that will help, then, get somebody else to say, okay, we'll do this together. How many are we doing a day? And, get someone to work with you on that to really get some action out there and get you moving.
I love that. Actually, that's a very good one. I love that. My top 3 takeaways are: use social media consciously and take notes. Like, the success of what you do on any platform is if you actually understand the platform. So be conscious and aware, even though it's a bit of a weird way of using posts like every time you go on, even I go on Facebook, I go, why is it showing me this? Who is this? Why did I scroll this? What's catching about this? What made me lose interest? Be conscious, right? Number 2 is that 10-10 method. It takes 10 hours and 10 pieces of content, and you'll understand that platform a lot better. And number 3, obviously, like, structure it like a newspaper. You've got the headline, the hook, the body, the drama, the bringing it back, and then the reveal, whatever that is, and think about it. And also, the other important thing is it's just one idea. It's not like a million different things. Like, it's just you've only got 15 seconds. Keep it simple, So anything else you want to add, Chris?
Just when you're saying consciousness, it just came across something this week, like consciousness and commitment will give you everything that you want.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's huge, isn't it? So if you're consciously or aware, if you're aware that you're not doing anything, or you're just flicking through, or be conscious of how you're acting towards your art business.
Yeah.
And then have commitment. So commitment, you follow through, and then there's no stopping you. You can do whatever you want. You'll get what you want because you're consciously doing it and taking action. Love
that, Chris. Love it. Well, have you guys posted on TikTok yet? What did you think worked? What didn't? As always, our links are down in the description. Make sure you give us a follow so you catch all of the future episodes. The next episode, we are going to be hosting a very interesting interview. I can't wait for you to tune in. See ya.
See you next week.